Paramount shares rallying on reports that the Redstone family and Skydance Media have both offered concessions to make the deal a bit more appealing for investors. Now, the Journal also reporting over the weekend that Paramount Global chairman Shari Redstone has lost confidence in Paramount CEO Bob Bakish, and he could be pushed out as early as today. For more on this, we want to bring in Brian Stelter, Vanity Fair special correspondent. Brian, it's great to see you. So talk to us just about where things stand today and then the possibility of removing Bakish here at this standpoint. Just to what extent does this, do you think, maybe potentially for the clouds, some of those deal prospects?
Yeah, this is late stage legacy media at its worst. Bob Bakish has been in charge of Paramount for a number of years. He has been trying to guide this, very leaky ship into a calmer waters, and it's just not happening. He has lost the confidence, lost the faith of controlling shareholder Shari Redstone. And ultimately, this is all about Shari Redstone and her desire to cash out. That's where this story starts. She was the heiress to this media empire that has seen much better days, and she has decided she wants or needs out. It all goes back to when Paramount stopped paying a dividend, and that dividend was basically bankrolling the Redstone family. So she wants her $2 billion or roughly that amount through this complicated transaction. And right now it's hard to say how normal shareholders are going to come out. I mean, look, full disclosure, I'm a shareholder in Paramount. You just put up those charts. They are painful charts. This is a company that has seen its stock price fall by more than half in the last year or so. So what this means for average shareholders, I think it's too soon to tell, but it's going to be incredible later today if Bob Bakish is fired as expected, and then after the bell, we're going to see Paramount's earnings report without even having a CEO there to present the earnings report this afternoon.
Who is the most likely suitor? Who is the best suitor from your perspective for Paramount?
Listen, it does seem as if David Ellison's Skydance is the leading contender. Right now, we know they're in an exclusive phase of negotiations to make a convoluted deal, to take control, to add equity to the company. That would seem like a very positive development for Shari Redstone. But again, I don't think we know exactly, we don't have a lot of clarity about how this is going to affect average shareholders. So we see the stock up 6% today, but if you've been in this company for years, you know how far it's fallen. The glory days of MTV and Nickelodeon and Comedy Central, can those days ever come back? Probably not. I think there's a lot of curiosity about what David Ellison would do. How would he unlock value? There are reports that he would bring in former NBCUniversal CEO Jeff Shell to run the company day to day. But what exactly would they be doing differently, so differently than Bob Bakish? I think that's ultimately the question mark here. There are reports that Bakish has lost the faith of Shari Redstone because he couldn't get certain deals done. There was talks about selling off Showtime, talks about selling off BET. Those deals didn't materialize. So perhaps Shari Redstone's fed up with Bob Bakish and deciding just to cut off all ties. But seriously, who has a better plan for late stage legacy cable bundles? I'm not sure.
Yeah, Ariel Investments was out with a letter here this morning, or over the weekend, I should say, just talking about how rare this situation is with Paramount. Brian, similar to what you were just saying that the recent dramatic devaluation of Paramount shares as a result of market concerns surrounding an unconventional sale process is a situation that we have never seen before. And this is coming from someone, John Rogers, who has been investing for 40 plus years. So really just speaks to the uniqueness here of this situation. Brian, my question to you is, if a deal doesn't materialize, what happens?
Look, this is all about that dual class share structure, as you're indicating, right? Because Shari Redstone has so much control, normal shareholders sometimes feel like they're getting the bag. It happens as well at Fox and News Corp with the Murdoch family. What happens if a deal doesn't materialize? There are reports about other potential suitors like Apollo, but one way or another, I think the only thing we know for sure is that Shari Redstone has made up her mind. She wants out. She will find a way, one way or another, to cash out of this business because she believes it is in an absolute decline, maybe even a spiral. But at the same time, she has to convince a buyer that there's a real opportunity here, real potential through a streaming service like Paramount Plus, et cetera. So if there's no deal right now this spring, then it raises questions about Comcast, raises questions about WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery, and whether there's some sort of combination. That's, of course, the giant media merger guessing game of 2024. In what combination will these subscale streaming services combine? It's going to happen one way or another. We just don't know how yet.
What should customers expect if we do see any of this happen, whether Paramount has to continue to try and find some type of suitor, and as more time goes on, it seems like the deal price might continue to go down or trickle lower. So at the end of it, there's still going to be the customer that's trying to figure out, okay, what is the service level agreement now that I'm going to get guaranteed to me?
Right. It's funny because the history of media is all bundling and then unbundling and then back to bundling and then unbundling again. Right now, we're heading back toward the bundling phase. But as these phases happen, think about who sometimes can come in and be the insurgent, be the upstart, be the beneficiary. 10 years ago, it was Netflix that scared the bejesus out of Paramount and every other major media company. Netflix is still the colossus, the biggest player now in the industry. But as we see these phases, you might think about who can take advantage of what is now the rebundling phase. Who are the winners in rebundling as it happens? Probably not consumers, I would venture to say, because right now these streaming platforms, they say they're losing money by making all these shows. The only way to make up that money is going to be to charge more. And we're already feeling that. I know you all are probably feeling that in your credit card bill, just like I am. I'm paying for Paramount Plus every month and then forgetting to watch anything on the platform. And that's just not sustainable.
Brian, real quick, while we have you, I'm curious just to get your thoughts just overall on the ad landscape, especially on the heels of the results that we got out from Google after the bell last week on Thursday. It really points to the fact that maybe the landscape is recovering and recovering maybe a bit faster than Wall Street had anticipated. Is that your sense too?
That certainly is true on the television side as well. There's underperformance in the TV ad market that hurt the shares, that hurt the performance of companies like Paramount and Fox and WBD. There is a sense of some strengthening, but I don't think necessarily as strong as what we saw from Meta, from Alphabet. This is a winner-take-all environment, and those digital players do take almost all. But still, around the edges, a strengthening TV marketplace is great news heading into the upfronts. Those are in May. That's when ad companies make their advanced purchases of TV ads. And so those are good signs for the likes of Paramount and Fox and Warner Bros. Discovery.